Hey, y'all. Welcome. My name is Ebony. I am the CEO of Ebony's Mobile Notary, the founder of 757 Notary Sisters, and I want to thank you for being here today. Today we are talking Ron. Ron, what is Ron? Does your state allow Ron? Can you be a remote online notary? What does it entail? And who am I going to bring? An expert. We got Miss Amy Seitz out of Columbus, Ohio, who is the CEO, owner, operator of the Ron platform, Cyberize. So I am going to bring her on, let her introduce herself, and tell you about all the things Ron. Make sure that you guys hit like and subscribe to this channel as I try to bring you guys some value. Y'all know I just slid into this house coming from that signing, face all shiny, but we're going to let it do what it do, right? All right. Welcome.
Good afternoon, everyone. And I don't know if we can do all things Ron in just like an hour, because that would be like a week-long subject.
Yeah. Well, we're talking about Ron.
Highlight reel. Oh, but everyone, as she said, my name is Amy. I am a notary out of Ohio. I've been a notary for more than 20 years, if you haven't heard the spiel. I was an employer-based notary for most of my career. I really only started marketing notary in the last 2 years. Tried out in person, hated it. Not that it was anything wrong with going in person. I just didn't like the cost. It felt like it wasn't a good return on my investment. And that could be my area. Everywhere's different. But then I got into Ron and decided I loved it. And so much so that I wanted to create my own software. So now we have Cyberize. And it's the largest hybrid platform in the United States now, open in 33 states and the territory of Guam. So, yes, that was news to you, wasn't it?
Definitely was news to me. Congratulations. And in the description bar, you guys, of this video, I've put all of Amy's links along with, I'll scroll them across here as well. But if you go to the description bar, you will get her Facebook group, her email address. Everything is in the description tab. So if you don't know what Ron is, can you tell them what is a remote online notary?
Sure. So a remote online notary is basically a notary. The only difference is we use technology instead of a car. What you'll do is really a lot of the work is on the client. The client has to validate their ID. And you can do this one of two ways, depending on your state law. Either the client has to answer 5 questions about them that only they know, because, who knows you better than you, right? And these are questions like, what color is your Toyota Camry? What type of house is this specific address? And it wants to know, is it a condo? Is it a single family home? How long have you lived there? You would think they're pretty simple questions, but they're not always very simple. They can be very frustrating for clients because maybe they've owned 5 Toyota Camrys like I have, and they're all different colors, and it doesn't tell you what year. So you get them wrong. And when you fail, then you need to use someone who can do something else. The other ID proofing is the next most common ID proofing is biometric verification. And that's where the client uploads an ID and then takes a selfie and analyzes it automatically analyzes their bone structure to see if they're really themselves. I love biometric technology. It's absolutely the easiest and most trustworthy aspect of ID validation. There is a third one that not very many people do. I know Virginia can do it, Montana, and I think Wyoming off the top of my head can. It's called digital certificate verification. That takes a little more work. The client already has to have stuff purchased ahead of time. It's not really worth talking about, but that I just wanted to throw out there is a third one. Next, you would think that they're done. No, the client's not done yet. After they verify that step, then they have to make sure that they've uploaded their ID. Part of the biometric is uploading the ID, so it counts for both. But So they have to ID proof, they have to ID credential analysis. This is where the system's going to analyze their ID to make sure that it is exact. The font size, the shape, the watermarks, the security features, the barcode's going to be read. If it's been reported lost or stolen, it's going to trigger. If it's an underage child, they're not going to be able to do it. It's going to immediately trigger. If it's expired, it's going to trigger. It's going to trigger as fraud and done. So you can't, again, you got to look at all those aspects. And the picture has to be very, very clear, because if there's a shadow or a glare, you're going to run into issues. Then you're meeting live, like we are right here. I can see, I can hear Ebony. I know that it's her that I'm communicating with, and I'll go through my state specific spiel. Do we have to say our names? Does she have to show her ID? Every state's a little different in their spiel, so I'm not going to dictate what you say, but being sure that you know your laws, because again, every state's different, and you definitely want to make sure you're hitting all the check boxes. Finally, when you do go to sign the document, we're not using an ink pen in a RON scenario. In a RON scenario, we're using electronic signatures. This means that it is the client can type or sign or upload a signature, but the notary always uses their wet signature. This means the notary never types their name. They always wet sign something. They always have they can draw it on the computer even, but it has to be a unique interpretation of your signature. Once everything's signed, the document's encrypted and able to be downloaded or submitted electronically to the receiving agency. And that sounds like a lot, but really it's not. You got ID proofing, ID upload, audio visual, and sign the document. Once you get it down and you're able to clarify it clearly with the client, it doesn't seem so overwhelming, but getting that comfort level with it can be very overwhelming. So
okay. Well, can the client pick how they want to be verified?
Only if they're using a notary in specific states that allow it. So one of the things that I'm rolling out on my platform this week is when a new client with no notary, that they've never talked to a notary ever in my platform, and they hit new notarization, it's going to ask them, are you a U.S. citizen or not? Are you a U.S. citizen? Yes or no? If they say yes, it's going to take them through the KBA questions, because that gives them a bigger pool of notaries to pick from. KBA is allowed in every single RON state. All right. If they say no, it's going to limit it to the 5 states that can do biometrics. And we're just going to pick out those KBAs, because most individuals who are not U.S. citizens have more trouble statistically with those KBA questions. Either they're not eligible, or the questions are about investment homes that they've never lived in, so they're not going to know the closest hospital. So we're going to kind of take that away from the client end and just kind of streamline them to the best fit. Now, if you're a notary like I am, I'm in Ohio, I can't do biometrics.
Oh.
My clients, if they fail KBA, my options are wait 24 hours, let them try it again, or they can get a friend who's not related to the document to be their credible witness. And now that credible witness has to go through the ID proofing aspects. My last option is to transfer it. So I could transfer it to Ebony, who can do biometrics, and then get that client taken care of. Now, I'm losing the sale in that instance, but I'm gaining the confidence of that client, and they're going to come back to me every time after that. Right. They're going to be singing my praises. We struggled, but Amy made sure I got it done. And right. That's the kind of service that I'm looking at. And that's what most of the notaries on my platform are looking at as well.
Right. Yeah. That's what I always say. Even if I have to give the sign-in away, if I have to find somebody, I'd rather take care of the client on the front end. And yeah, it's okay. Someone said, what is a wet signature? That is the unique signature that you would use. And it says, what states have biometric? You said it's 5 states, right?
Correct. So it is Florida, Louisiana, Virginia, Montana, and Wyoming.
All right. All right. So tell us about Cyberize. How does it work?
It's all platforms ultimately work in the same manner. We all provide the same four basic elements. However, there's little bits of fitting. I call it like buying shoes.
Mm-hmm.
I can buy a pair of shoes that I love, but Ebony gets them and maybe the heel's too high or the toes pinched too much, and they're not perfect for her, but it's perfect for me. So you got to look at a platform that way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to kind of backtrack just a tick. My big thing is always understand when you're looking at a platform, it's a tool. That's all it is. It's a software. And whichever one you choose, you want to be comfortable with your tool. But not only do you need to be comfortable with it, your clients need to be. Because you will get comfortable the more you use it, the more you go. Your client may only use it once.
Mm-hmm.
So keep that in mind, whatever software you pick. Now, the reason I think people should use mine, again, biased here. One, I don't require that the clients give you their socials. That we don't use credit in any way, shape, or form for our questions when we do generate the KBAs. We use public record data. So this is utility bills, housing, vehicle ownership, registration information, all of the public records. Again, it has to be public records in the USA, but we don't necessarily require the social. So that does open doors for individuals who are foreign who could get KBA questions. KBA is not based on credit history, and a lot of people think that it is. It's if you lived in the United States and you've created this longevity of history, you could get that aspect. And we open the door to those individuals that allow for it. We also don't require that they have a US-based cell phone. Some providers require that they have a US cell phone so that they can text a specific link for the ID upload to them. We use email, not text phone. So that opens doors. So it allows you to have a little more flexibility in your client base and how you want to structure it. Then we have 24/7 support. If you're in a session, you can text us. We give you an immediate answer, even if we have to jump in and help you in the session. I've even gone so far as to go in and help someone who tagged a document incorrectly, which has nothing to do with my platform. It just has to do with getting the notary up to comfort level with their tagging. Tagging is where you place action items on the document. Think like your little sticky tags where you say here, sign here, that kind of thing. You have to do that electronically with Ron. And if you miss one, it throws the whole thing off. A lot of times, if you mess up a tagging session, you have to start the entire session over with some platforms and pay again.
Oh.
So it can get expensive. I think I did one, I messed it up twice, and I ended up paying an extra $20 just to get this one signing done. And that was after the company paid me. I had to put another $20 of my own money out just to complete it, because at that point I missed a spot. It was my fault, just like in person. If you miss a spot, you got to drive back out at your own cost and fix it, because that's what we do. We take pride in our work. I'm going to get the job done, even if it costs me money. It is what it is.
Okay. On your platform, do like if I sign up for your platform, I'm not ready to take my first one. There's training available for me to practice tagging, KBA, and understanding?
Yeah, so I actually have a module. I just revamped it because of the new features we're rolling out. And I added some interactive games. So like I added a crossword puzzle with terminology, and I added drag and drop, so you could pretend to tag this form on the screen and fill in the phrase kind of statements. I also added interactive videos. So as you're watching the training video, it'll pop up with a random question that's pertaining to the subject matter so that it can help trigger the thought process of, oh, what she said, because sometimes we get in here, we watch these videos and it's you're hearing it, but it doesn't really absorb. And having that little pop-up that stops the video and makes you go, oh yeah, she said, and you get the answer. And when you don't answer it right, it gives you the correct answer so that you do get that absorption. And they're videos that you can replay as many times as you want, and you can go back in. I also go into state-specific trainings. Okay. So you can actually narrow it down to, in Virginia, do I need a digital certificate or not? Well, the short answer is yes, you do. Where do I purchase it? We go into all of that. We tell you step by step. After it's purchased, how do you conform and sign your document so that you could submit it to your Secretary of State? Step by step. And the good thing is once you do that, it's there. You don't have to do it again. It's one time and you're done. But Ebony knows.
I struggled. But yes, it's there now.
Yeah, exactly. But we go into all of those different aspects. What kind of ID proofing is required by your state? Can you do an apostille over RON in your state? We've researched all this. What forms are restricted in your state or cautionary in your state. For instance, Maryland can't do a will via RON. A Maryland notary can't, but an Ohio notary can. A Florida notary can, but they have to ask a very specific list of questions, which we do provide a questionnaire for them to use with that client so that they make sure they're covering all their bases. Again, lots of data, and every state is so different. And even traditional laws are so different than RON laws. Again, an example, Florida. In Florida, you can use credible witness in person, but you can't use credible witness on RON. It's illegal. Yes. Just a simple little ID proof that's legal one way in the same state is not legal in the other. And you've got to know that.
So where do you find like I know where to find my notary handbook. How do I find my RON state laws?
They're in your notary handbooks. Okay. It's just buried in there in a different section. So you got to go down and you've got to really read it, because we get so used to, okay, well, that's what I do in person, so no big deal. But if you don't read it, it's actually defining the segment just below. And you're like, oh, that's exiling the section above, so you've got to pay close attention to the verbiage.
Okay. Well, I definitely need to go looking through my handbook again. So I know what my laws are for RON. Man, it's so much information. Man, running this business is amazing, but we have to be mindful of our craft and know what our laws are so that we can act accordingly. Okay, let's see. What does this one say? This says, if I sign up for your platform, do I have to add your platform on my list of providers for Florida?
Yes. So any state, if you sign up for an additional platform, you have to let the Secretary of State know that you may or will be using that platform for RON. What I tell everyone, and this works for every state except Arizona, is list everyone. Put them all on your application, because you don't have to sign up with all of the platforms. You just have to let the Secretary of State know you might use this platform. Okay. Actually, there's two states that theory doesn't work. One is Michigan. Michigan requires a receipt. You have to show a receipt of purchase of the platform or training of the platform in order to get approved. So Michigan, you can't do that theory. But Arizona will only allow you to pick 4 platforms. So you want to make sure you're picking the 4 best platforms for you. So if it was me, I would pick one platform I can bring my own clients, and then I would pick stuff like Pavaso. Let's see, Notaries doesn't provide clients there, but things like Nexus, ClearSign, places that will send you work directly, but have at least one that will bring you clients where you can bring your own clients.
And if you guys are not a part of her group, I always see Amy posting, there's a job on the board. There's a job on the board. So do not think that she does not have work. I always see the post and I always just beat myself up like, Lord, why you ain't done the work? Why you ain't done the work? All right.
Well, now piggyback on that, we do have, ours is a hybrid platform, and we do have an increase of work coming in because the word is getting out. We are doing a good job at that, but it's not a windfall. It's not like other companies that have jobs like left and right. So don't count on it.
Right.
Use it. I consider, think of a cupcake. You need to have the cake. We're the icing. All right. We are the bonus. If you get a job, that's fantastic. That's extra money. But don't think that we're going to be the cake. Okay.
Right. And I remember back when you first started, you would always say something like, you have to sell it. And I used to always wonder until I was in the position. And when people call me, like I've had people call me and they're like, hey, I'm in New York. I really need this document signed, and I'm the first one. Well, would you like it to be done, Ron? Like I can do it. And then I normally go and find somebody, that can. So it's really, really great, especially if you got that Google business page lit up and say and you're a Ron and you know how to use the Cyberize platform, you can always offer that service to them via Ron. And they're going to be a repeat client every single time because they're going to remember that I was able to get my document notarized. She was able to help me electronically or via, however I needed to do it instead of just saying no, goodbye. So I definitely love that part. Let me see. I had seen one. Is there any specific equipment needed for your platform?
So I don't recommend things like a Chromebook or a MacBook that's streaming. You have to be able to download software, especially if you're in a state that requires a digital certificate signature. It will make your life much easier if you can use the IdenTrust certificate. And with my platform, you can't do that if it's on a Chrome type streaming laptop. In that instance, there is another option. It's cheaper, but it's harder to use. So yeah, you get what you pay for kind of thing. Right. But in general, any traditional laptop have a USB mouse, webcam, audio. I'm literally using it off my computer right here. I don't have anything special hooked up right here today. I have a microphone. I usually use it for training videos, not necessarily for Ron. And I don't have any kind of special things on there for the camera. So I started everything with a $300 computer off of Amazon.
Perfect. And somebody says, how much does it cost to utilize your platform?
So that kind of varies. You do have a subscription fee. I do allow you to break it down into either monthly, quarterly, semi-annually, or annually. The longer you commit, the cheaper it is. And that's mainly because there's a lot of admin work that goes with managing that subscription. So getting someone approved, we have to validate you with the state. We've got to help make sure you have the seal. We make sure your signature is correct. There's a lot of staff time. So it can vary from $40 a month. But if you go all the way up to the annual, it comes out to like $19 a month. So it's like half price if you pay for a year.
Okay.
You can cancel at any time. You don't have to renew, but we don't refund for unused portion of your subscription. So if you pay for a year and quit after 2 months, we don't give you the difference back. Right. You're welcome to keep using it as long as you're legal. Now, if for some reason your commission expires in the middle and you decide not to renew, different subject matter, email us, you'll get your money back. We're not going to charge you when you're not legal.
Okay. All right. One more. Here we go. Do you need a different insurance policy for Ron?
So I don't think so. Mine covered it. Now I have a cyber insurance policy only because I have to protect the data that's on the server for the platform. Right. And that's different. Now, I've had a couple of discussions. Cyber insurance, I honestly think you need more for in-person than you do for Ron. Because in person, if your computer's hacked, you've got all of those files you've downloaded, you've got all those files you scan, you've got the IDs, you've got more data that's at risk right there than with a RON. Because with a RON, the client's uploading to the site, the ID's going to the site, you're not downloading anything. So there's less risk of something getting hacked on your computer. So I would make sure that it covers electronic notarizations for your E&O, because there are some policies that don't cover that. But adding cyber insurance, I'm going to kind of leave that up to y'all. It's not going to hurt, but I don't know that it's immediately necessary. Let's put it that way.
All right. I am going to drop your Facebook group in the chat here, so that the people can come to your Facebook group.
Awesome.
There we go. And yeah, and she's always holding like free webinars. She's always holding trainings, like it the same way that I'm trying to bring it. Amy is always bringing it right there. I always see those posts. Join me as we go over this. Join me as we go over that. So for the people that is running it up, please utilize your resources. I'm big on that. Like, get all the education that you can. Tamika, she said that she got her laptop off of Amazon for $300, just not a Chromebook and not a MacBook.
Yeah, I started with an Acer Aspire 3.
Okay.
Yeah. Then I moved up to the 5, and then I moved up to the gaming version of the Aspire 3, and that's what I'm on right now.
Okay.
In this laptop, it was like $800.
All right. Yeah. I want to say, my laptop was probably about 26 and 8. All right. We got some people they're saying they're in training. They're going to add it to. We got your thing. Yes, your platform is user friendly to new RONs, right?
It is. You just have to get used to it. So getting in there, and you're not just going to sit there and go, oh yeah, cool, got it. You're going to need to get in and practice. After you've practiced it a little bit, you'll be totally good. But you do have to put some time into understanding the technology behind the technology. Right. I don't just teach you how to use it. I teach you how it breaks, so that when you're in the session, you can fix it. But because of that, I teach you a lot more data than just your traditional 1, 2, 3, here you go. If it fails for any reason, I want you to still look good and be able to salvage it without having to go, I'm sorry, it's just not working. I can't figure this out. We'll have to reschedule. I think that's unprofessional as a notary.
Right.
And I want everyone to be empowered to know, if this happens, here's how you pivot. If this happens, here's your login to the back end where you have full control. And that's the thing with my platform. For me to get in there and do tech support for you, I have to log in as you, because you have full control on my platform. I, as an admin, can't even take over your session. It literally has to be under your login. So again, we give the notary the full power behind the software. A little bit different perspective there.
And with that 24-hour tech support, if you do get stuck or something happens, you guys are available to help.
Just shoot us a text. Text is the easiest way, and then we will move forward from there. And there is a special phone number for that, so that it is monitored by us. And I'm not the only one, believe it or not. I know it sounds like I'm the only one here. I'm not the only one here. So,
oh gosh. Let's see. Nicole said, "What is the best way to market for Ron?"
There's no bad way to market for Ron. The biggest thing that you have to understand, okay, so the top 3 tips. Number 1, you've got to forget about zip codes. We all have it in depth in our head. Proximity. How far am I willing to drive? How far am I willing to go? Now, when you're a Ron, the world is your oyster. You've no concept of driving or time-space continuals, okay? Number 2, you need to use common terminology for the client. We talk RON, we talk RON, but if you go out there and say, I can do RON, this is awesome, everybody's going to be like, who's Ron and why are you doing him? what does that have to do with your business? I mean, why are you telling people that? That is what they're thinking.
Right.
Okay. You got to go out there and say, oh my goodness, technology has advanced so much. We can do it right from your cell phone. Hold on here. Where did I stick it? I'm going to lean over. I apologize. I made these. I'm hanging them on doors. And it
Good
literally
one.
says virtual notarization. All you need is a smartphone. Save the gas. Notarize it online. Upload, validate, zoom, and sign 24/7. And it gives our website at the bottom. Okay?
That's
now,
good.
Yeah, and that's the image you've got to get to the client. It's 3 steps. Upload, validate, meet, and sign. Boom. And that makes it, a little more appealing. The third is to realize that you're not the end all be all. Just because you can do it online and that you can notarize for anyone anywhere doesn't mean that you're the right notary for the job. There are specific documents that require a certain state. There are situations where you're not going to be able to do it. And having that community to call on is going to make you better for it. So those would be my biggest 3 tips for any new RON notary.
Okay. Let's see. So when I'm doing a notarization, I can complete them for anybody in any state. So if I'm in Virginia and you're in California.
Correct. So there's 3 criteria for a RON notarization. In the States, yes, that's accurate. But you can also do it for people that are in Spain or Italy, Australia. I've done them when they are on a barge in the middle of the sea. I mean, the military are a big utilize this a lot. But the document either needs to be created in the USA, all right, or the document is going to be used in the USA. So it was created in Italy and it's going to be filed in Columbus, Ohio. So that means I can do that. The third aspect is it has to have some kind of large assimilation with the United States. It has to have something, even if it's on the far outside edge of it, has something to do with the USA. What you can't do is for a client who's physically in New Zealand, who needs a passport to fly to Egypt, and he needs a New Zealand passport. We can't notarize for him. Okay. We can notarize if that client that's in New Zealand is signing a permission slip for their son who lives in the United States to get a passport in the US. Okay.
Makes sense.
Yeah. But you can, as long as you are in your commissioned area, and I say that because there are a few states that allow some exceptions, but typically you have to physically be in your state. And if your feet are in your state, the client can be anywhere in the world or outside of it. The client could be on the space station. They could be on the moon. As long as they can connect and go through the steps, you can notarize the document.
Okay. So if I was in Africa and I'm buying a property in Virginia.
Correct.
The Virginia RON would facilitate that transaction while I'm over in Africa, right?
Any United States RON could facilitate that transaction.
Oh.
Yes. So a Texas RON could notarize it for you while you're physically in Africa, and then it could be filed in Virginia.
Wow. Okay. And we can do any and all real estate transactions?
Yes. However, if you're going to go into real estate, you need to make sure whichever platform you choose is MISMO certified. MISMO is an accreditation that software companies obtain that is backed by the Mortgage Bankers Association. So this means that it's recognized that the safety protocols are in place and that it's basically universally accepted, kind of like a loan signing certification for a notary is how I compare it. It's like that for software. It doesn't mean the software is any better than ones that don't, but it means that we know the software meets those requirements. So a loan signing agent could be just as good as a notary that doesn't have it, but because you have the certification, you're held to a higher standard.
Okay. Perfect. Perfect. Yeah, Ron will. Yes, Nicole, I'm with you. Ron can open up some huge opportunities for us. And I know recently North Carolina just got approved.
Yes, they did.
That is
And
going to be amazing for them.
yeah,
So
but did you hear? I'm not a fan of their law.
I know, I know.
Yeah, it's going to be an uphill battle for notaries in North Carolina.
But
So
at least it's a step in the right direction.
it is a step in the right direction. That's correct.
Yep, yep. So here, one more. Here we go. So if someone in Michigan, could I notarize even though I'm in
Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Tamika, if you are a registered RON in the state of Pennsylvania and you're physically standing in Pennsylvania, your client can meet with you virtually from Michigan, sign electronically, and have that document notarized, correct?
All right. Yeah, that is amazing. And it's really, you get my marketing buzzers going. I'm like, I want door hangers. I want to be able to go in. And I do fear for some of the elderly that may not be that tech savvy.
Well,
But
that's when you like the biometrics.
yeah.
Because it's literally, okay, open your phone, click the link, take a picture of your ID, front and back, take a selfie, and that's it. They don't have those questions. They don't have a whole bunch of things in that aspect. But before I saw Shannon's question, but before we switch from marketing, can I throw in the other thing that I'm doing?
Yes, please.
All right. So Judy and I announced something really cool today. We are opening up a notary cookbook. We don't have a name yet, but it's going to be a collaboration of recipes of notaries across the states. It'll have an index of all the recipes, and then it'll have an index of local notaries in each state. And we're wanting to get 2 notaries from every state so that we can have a representative of every state in this book. And then we are going to put it out there and try to connect with a different niche. There'll be some education in the cookbook. What is a virtual notary? What is an apostille? How do you connect with them? And if you're a notary who does RON or apostille work, you'll get a little bit more in-depth marketing inside of there, things of that nature. Again, trying to target a new niche because everyone cooks and a lot of people buy cookbooks. So why not make it an advertising tool? And we're not charging. You submit 3 recipes for free. You upload your ad. We'll put your ad at the bottom of every one of your recipes in the book. I would recommend doing like 3 different types of food, an appetizer, a side dish, a dinner, so that your image is throughout the book and, something different, right?
Yes, that is going to be amazing. I'm going to Google my recipes and put them up there.
Just add your own twist to them, okay?
Right, right. Y'all know I can't cook. All right, Shannon. Oh, yes, New York.
We are. So we are in 33 states. I already have New York notaries. Actually, that was the job I needed someone for yesterday, was a notary in New York, because the clients on our platform, the clients can ask for a specific state notary. While it's not always required, we try to help. They're more comfortable with that. That's what they know, right? Mm-hmm. Legally, could they have connected with an Ohio notary? Yeah. But that's what they want. And, at the end of the day, it's about getting what the client wants, if you can do it.
Right.
So the client can say, I need a New York notary, and we will attempt to get a New York notary for them. If we can't, we educate them and say, but we have these notaries here who could do it too. Or why do you need a specific state? If you need a specific state, let us get you a scheduled appointment with a notary, things of that nature. But we are open in New York. I have, I think, about 20 notaries already on the platform in New York. And they've been on there since the temporary order rolled out. I think it was like 3 months ago now.
Yeah, I want to say it was 3 months ago. Okay, here is a good one. Do you need a digital journal or a hard journal?
That depends on state law. However, we do provide a digital journal on our platform that you can export. Right now it's into Excel. We are looking at enhancing it to export into Adobe. I'm also working with another company to kind of collaborate and do an API with them. So If you're in a state like Montana or Washington, you physically have to keep a tangible journal of your RONs, and it has to be in consecutive order. So if I do a physical in-person signing, I have to put that in my journal. And then if I jump on a RON, I have to physically write that in my journal. So definitely know your state laws because it varies. I will say every state that does RON, you are legally required to at least do a RON journal. And it usually is provided on the platform.
Okay. Well, this has been amazing. And let's see, for Virginia, does at large make a difference? I don't think so. We're not at large. We're Commonwealth. At large, I want to say is Alabama. Is Alabama at large? But in Virginia, we're Commonwealth of Virginia. But I don't think it would make a difference, right?
I would probably need a little more context in order to figure out.
So, like, normally, like on the notary verbiage, we are the Commonwealth of Virginia. In Alabama, they are Alabama notary at large. So I think that's what she was asking, if it would make any of a difference. But no. But Ebony, you don't have to worry about it, girl. You right here. You stationed right here. You getting ready to be my neighbor. But yeah, I want to thank you for your time. Thank you for doing this. You know, I try to link up with you every so often so we can get these wrong questions answered, because I be feeling bad. You know, people will book a discovery call with me and they be like, I want to know about Ron. I'm like, did I ever say that?
And it's hard. You know, you've got RON, remote online notarization, which uses electronic signatures virtually while you're in two different locations. And then you've got RIN, remote ink notarization, which is where you are virtual with the signer, but you both use an ink pen and you use a traditional stamper. That is only legal in certain states. But where it can really get confusing is Alabama passed a law that says it's an RON law, but it really isn't electronic signatures, it's ink. So they get very confused as the notaries that they don't understand the terminology doesn't match with the actual law criteria. And so it can be a lot. So what I recommend focusing on your laws and then growing into the others. You don't want to learn it all at once. I didn't learn it all at once. It took a progression. And, you know, but it will benefit you to keep learning and growing with it.
Yep. Always stay a student. Always stay a student. I know that you have some things coming up. Are you doing the thing with Judy in September?
Yes, I will be at the Philly Social in September. It's September 9th in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The Philly Social 2022.com is the website. And we will be doing all kinds of different aspects of going around Philly, looking at some of the historical aspects. It's not just an education session. You'll have some education in there, but it's really more about networking and just letting your hair down a little bit. We all try to learn. We all try to grow. And sometimes it can be overwhelming.
Yes.
We lose a little bit of sense of our purpose or our happiness, I guess.
Yeah.
And Judy's trying to bring that back to it. We'll have a little bit more fun with it. It's not all about precision and training. It can be fun and rewarding too.
Right. Lord. Okay. We are definitely doing this. I'm gonna get with Judy in a couple of more weeks, you guys, to see if I can bring her on. You know, we love Judy Lawrence as well. Y'all know I just be going through the people and I slide into the DMs to bring you guys the information. But thank you for joining me, Amy. Thank you guys for being here. I'm gonna get out of here because your girl going to Busch Gardens, okay? Getting ready to cut these tights into some little booty shorts, and we have to go. Y'all have a good weekend. Thank you. Make sure you guys get all of her information. Join our Facebook group. sign up for that platform. If you are a Ron and it is allowed in your state, she is in 33 states. So utilize these resources. I just want everyone to win. All right. See y'all later.
Bye. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.